Greetings, learners. I hope that you're having a good week so far and that you have finished the email etiquette presentation and you've started thinking about what you'd like to do for your independent writing project. Today's lesson is about capturing dialogue and punctuating dialogue, and I'd like you to watch this video that Mrs. Reed made that explains how you're going to do this week's assignment, or today's assignment, I should say. All right, I hope you enjoy.
So today we are going to talk about dialogue. And we're getting ready to write your first creative piece. And part of that is going to be inserting dialogue. And dialogue is so interesting because the way we say things, the words we choose to say so much about us. The other day, one of my friends that I work with said, "Oh, she's such a wet blanket." And I thought, that is such a funny noun. I have not heard that used in so long. And for those of you who don't know, a wet blanket is, how would you describe it? It's someone who puts out fun. And it's a noun. It derives from, the old meaning of it was a wet blanket was used to put out fire. And then it turned into a wet blanket being referred to someone who squashes fun. But even that term, referring to someone as a wet blanket, I thought, I want to somehow put that in my next writing piece. I'm going to use that word. And that's what we're doing today. We're capturing dialogue. You are going to listen to Ralph Fletcher. And he is a wonderful writer who's going to give us a little tips on capturing dialogue. And then you're going to actually watch a few videos and try and pull any cool, fun words that you think are might make your story, you might use in the future. And I'm going to show you how to do that. And then lastly, we're going to just talk briefly about punctuating that dialogue so we got it right. Okay, so we are going to start writing down some notes about how writers capture dialogue. So I want you to pull up your Digital Writer's Notebook from week 1, and I want you to go to the page that says, How do writers capture dialogue? And if you are keeping a hard copy notebook, then you're just going to write on the next clean page, How do writers capture dialogue? And we're going to listen to Ralph Fletcher, who is an accomplished writer, talk about how he, as a writer, captures dialogue in his writer's notebook. And we're going to write down any tips that he gives us that we think are worthy of putting in our notebook that they will then serve to help us become a better writer. Okay, so that is coming up right now.
Writing dialogue. I find that keeping a writer's notebook gets me in the habit of paying attention to the world. I notice more, like the sequence of food a person eats when they get a plate of food at a restaurant. I also find myself paying close attention to the things people say. Often someone will speak to me, or I'll overhear a remark at the store, and I'll write that into my writer's notebook. For example, one time I was at a supermarket and saw a tall kid, probably a high school age kid, with a man who seemed to be his father. The boy started fooling around and knocked over a big stack of cereal boxes. His father was not amused. "You do that again," he warned, "and I'll drop you like a bad habit." My father never spoke to me that way, and I've never used those kind of words with my own kids. But that blunt comment echoed in my ears. It was like a window into another kind of family. It struck a chord within me, and I wrote it into my notebook. Some people have verbal habits when they speak, always saying, "you know," or or repeating a particular word again and again. When I was in school, I had a principal who was very strict. Whenever she talked over the loudspeaker, it seemed like diligent was her favorite word. "Teachers need to be diligent in making sure each student brings in their medical forms. This is holiday season, but I expect every student to work diligently right up until Friday afternoon at 3 p.m. Writing down bits of conversation helps you develop an ear for dialogue, and that'll come in handy when you write stories of your own. The trick is to write down not just what people say, but also how they say it. You know the funny way little kids talk? It's funny to hear how they make up words or mispronounce them. I know a boy who loves aminal crackers. And when my son Joseph was 3, he'd always say, "I need my bobble," his bottle, before going to sleep. Those are the kind of things that you write in your writer's notebook. Notice that when people talk, they don't necessarily speak in nice complete sentences. They use sentence fragments and often interrupt each other. Here's an example of me talking to my son Robert, who's about 15, after he came home from school the other day. "How was school?" I asked. "Dece," Robert replied, which is short for decent. "It was okay?" I asked. "Yeah, we saw a movie in mythology," Robert explained. "That was pretty sick. But lunch was horrible. The pizza was disgusting, cold and hard. Must have been made last year." "I doubt that," I said. "I'm sure—" "No, I'm telling you, Dad," Robert insisted. "This stuff was fossilized." When you write dialogue like that, put it down in your writer's notebook exactly as the person said it.
So now it is our turn to capture a little dialogue. Now, in a normal school environment, we would walk around the building. And I still want to invite you to kind of take notice of some of the things that your teachers say over the next couple of days and jot them in your writer's notebooks or people at home. But we thought because it's an unusual kind of year, we're just going to have you watch a couple video clips. And this is actually even interesting as well. Like I was watching a show my husband likes, and the guy said, "This is my unicorn." And I thought, I've never heard someone talk like that. So I would write, "This is my unicorn," in my writer's notebook. For those of you who are doing digital notebooks, you're just going to capture any phrases or words that you think are interesting. You're just going to write them straight into your digital notebook. For those of you who are doing hard copy, you'll do the same on the page that you have taken notes from Ralph Fletcher. So this page should be filled with dialogue. That is your job today. And you just, for the assignment, you just click on, and there's a link. You only have to watch about 30 to 60 seconds. And you're capturing any words or phrases, and you're writing them in your writer's notebook. Okay. Okay, so the last thing you're going to do today is focus on punctuation. So the rules on how to punctuate dialogue are very specific. And really, the more we punctuate our dialogue, the better we get at it. If you are a learner who is using a hard copy notebook, you're going to want to write all of the rules down. And that is just really, you want a place where you have the rules so you can always double check your punctuation. And then I want you to write at the bottom 4 original sentences and try and incorporate some of the dialogue that you just picked up and captured. So I'm going to try and write a sentence using wet blanket. And that is what I want you to do.
All right, I hope that lesson is clear and you understand what to do. If you don't, then just let me know, send me an email using that great email etiquette, and I will help you out. The last thing I want you to work on is IXL. Log in and go to 6th grade language arts, and it is the lesson on formatting quotations and dialogue. So please work on that and have a great weekend. Please email me if you have any questions. All right, thanks a lot. Bye-bye.